Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Courtney and I love teaching you how to love your home through DIY, thrifting, and organizing. Welcome back, you guys. I am feeling so much better. Thank you so much for all of you who said that you're praying for me or wishing me well. Honestly, you guys, I just felt zonked last week after feeling sick. I just could not get my energy up. I could not bring myself to go get the wood. And then on the weekend, I was like, I have to get the wood. Like, this has been on my brain forever. So we did it. I did a pickup order, made it so much easier. I did have to run back and get some different pieces of wood. But anyways, you guys, I am so excited to be starting the living room makeover. Welcome to my living room. I'll show you guys around. So this would have been the formal sitting area in this home. The living room has since been converted to my mother's bedroom, and that was done by the investors, not by us. But we took full advantage of it. So for those of you who don't know, my mom does live with us and she has her own little area. So because of that, this sitting room is our living room. And honestly, it's a great size. It's not, you know, overly large, but it's just enough space for all of us to come in here. We like to watch our movies in here. We like to read our books in here. And it just feels a little bit like a dumping ground right now. We kind of just threw in the furniture that we had and made it work. We also found this large bookcase on Facebook Marketplace for only $15. It wouldn't fit up in my son's room, so we kept it down here and it has all of our books on it. But the room just feels, how do I say, a little bit unorganized, maybe is the word. I mean, it's cozy and we do like it in here, but it's just not styled, honestly. And it is the first room you see when you walk into this house aside from the foyer. And I just wanted to have an impact. I wanted to be a space where, you know, you walk in and you're overwhelmed by the size of the entryway, which that's a whole nother story. I don't even know how to start and make things work in there yet. So I'm not there yet. But then you come into this room and like I said, it just kind of feels put together, which is what it is. I mean, like I said, it's what we had. We made it work. So what I want to do is, you can kind of already get a little bit of the idea. We have bookshelves here and a little curio cabinet kind of thing on the other side. And I want to build up because these, I feel like, make the room feel shorter than it is. We have 10-foot tall ceilings and it doesn't really feel like that in this room because of these bookcases. So what I want to do is build bookcases all the way up to the ceiling. And then I want to make it as if the mantle and those bookcases were all one unit, one thought out unit. So I'm going to paint the mantle the same color as the bookshelves. Again, this is going to be like a series. We're going to start with the bookshelves, but I have plans for the fireplace and the mantle as well. I want to add some more ornate details. I feel like it's very cookie cutter and just, you know, I don't know, it feels like it's missing some ornateness to it. So I don't quite know what I'm going to do to the tile yet. Let me know what you guys think. It is original to the home. However, it is a bright mint green and it's just not my style. So I want to think of a way to kind of cover it up where if somebody in the future owns this home and they want to expose that again, that they can do so easily. So my two ideas were either painting it, because then you could just get some stripper and take that off, or using stick-on tiles that someone could peel off, but I feel like the glue of that, I don't know, you guys. Let me know what you think about that. We have lots of plans in this room. I want to do wall molding. I want to do a dark color. I might be doing blue or green. I've had you guys vote and I still don't know. Let's go ahead and start these bookshelves. So I looked at a bunch of videos online, so this is going to be very DIY and lots of hopes and prayers are going to go into this project, you guys. I built a chicken coop before, but I had a plan. If there's a plan in front of me, I can do anything. But off of my own, I'm kind of like winging it a little bit here. So what I'm gathering though is that I'm going to make a base cabinet and then I'm going to build shelves on top of that and then add trim and everything to make it look as if it's a built-in bookcase. So without further ado, we're going to get started on the base cabinet. Okay, you guys can see I kind of already hit my first little like roadblock, and that is that the outlet is in the baseboard, which is how it is throughout the entire house. And one of the main reasons of that is probably just because our baseboards are tall, but in general, this is very low to the ground. And if only it was a little bit higher, it would make this so much easier. But of course, nothing is ever easy in DIY. So, I mean, it is, but it isn't. There's always hiccups. So my original plan was to do a 2x4 this way to give myself a bit of a base But for this, I'm going to flip it sideways because I could do with just the cabinet all the way to the floor, but I don't want to do that. I want to use these to kind of help level the floor. I don't know. For some reason in my head, I just have it that I need to do the 2x4s as the base of the cabinet because that's what you typically do. And it just gives it a little bit more support. But I've measured and I have just about, well, I have just 3/4 that will reach just to the bottom of the outlet. So I'm hoping that if I do my cabinet, so the 3/4 inch base, I'll have just enough. And then I don't know if you guys can see with the trim here, but it's like in the wall. And so I'm not going to mess with that. I feel like that would be a disaster. So what I'm actually gonna do is build my cabinet, the measurements of the baseboard. And then when I get up to here, when I put my cabinet in, I'm just gonna put some shims behind it, or even just maybe the thickness of this behind, I don't know. Probably shims to attach it to the wall, and then that way I don't have to worry about the baseboard and it should fix itself out kind of thing. I don't know, we'll see you guys. Like I said, this is a very DIY project and we're gonna make it work. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and build the rest of the support. I basically cut everything out and I'm just gonna screw it together, and then I'm going to measure my cabinets. But I'm glad that I figured this out beforehand, because had I just went ahead and cut my wood or cut my cabinets, then my cabinets would be too long because I would have done it this way, but now I'm gonna do it this way. So anyways, let's keep moving. Okay, you guys, I have bought some tools to help me out with this. I have bought a Craig Rip Cut, which will help me get, if I can use it correctly, I think I installed it correctly, I don't know. It will help me get accurate cuts. Basically, I don't have to measure each piece. I can just set my blade and go for it, and then hopefully that will help keep my box square, because that's the biggest thing. And then I also just bought, my dad had one and it's in my bunch of tools, but I can't find it, which is really unfortunate because it just adds to the cost of this project. But I feel like this is necessary. I mean, I know it's necessary for what I'm doing, but this allows me to make pocket holes and allows me to make them accurate and good. So I am just going to, because I have to lay my 2x4s down on the floor now, whereas opposed to before I was gonna do like this and I could just screw my screws in, but now I have to put them this way. So I'm hoping if I do pocket holes, that will allow me to screw it in easier. I feel like this would just be more secure for my base. So we're gonna test this out. This thing's actually like really cool. I think it's overpriced for what it was, but I think it's gonna be handy, I know that. So what's really cool is that on this machine, it has it set so you can set your depth, and I'm pretty sure I want 3/4. That's what I saw everybody else do. So that's what I'm going to do. And you use this little piece that comes with to tighten it. And then this is what's going to, make sure I got that right. Yeah. So then this is what's going to, you put this into your drill and it'll stop it when you do your pocket holes right here. So you have the correct depth, and it has different measurements on there that you need. And we're just going to line up our wood. I mean, I'm gonna do this accurately when I do it, but I'm just showing you guys. Line up our wood, and it allows it so I can do 2 pocket holes, which just adds more strength. And then that way, it doesn't matter as much for the base. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. But when I'm doing my cabinet, I'm gonna do 2 holes, and then that way it won't wiggle around and it'll make it more sturdy and secure. So I'm gonna do my 2 little pocket holes in here and say a prayer that this works. I'm cutting inside the house because I like to keep my husband on his toes and just never know what he's gonna expect from me. But if you could maybe not tell him, that'd be great. A lot more sawdust than I thought it would. My mom just washed the chandelier. That was a mistake. I do not recommend cutting plywood inside. And the only reason I did this is because I saw someone on YouTube do it and it looked like they had no sawdust. There is sawdust everywhere. Everywhere. are making so much progress, you guys. I am so happy.
It's true.
Yeah, Harvey's telling you guys what I did this morning. So I added in the countertop and then as well as the little side piece that'll be our bookcase. So there are two ways that I could really do this. And one would be building a sides and a top. But one, wood is expensive, very expensive right now. And so I want to use the least amount of materials that I can while still making it look good. So I'm actually going to use the wall instead of using another board. I just feel like that would be kind of a waste. Because I'm putting trim on it, you're not going to see that at all. I did a pickup order and I ordered beadboard. And I thought that I was ordering the thin one, but it's the thick one. And so I need to go get the thin one. It'll tie in with the house more. It's okay because I can use the big one upstairs. That's actually what I was planning on using for the upstairs bathroom. But I just don't think I want it down here. I don't want these to look shiplap farmhouse at all. I think I want to keep the original beadboard. So I gotta pack up the kids, go get some beadboard, and hopefully it fits in the car with all the car seats.
I got it. My Harvey.
Yeah, Harvey was working with his hammer, right? You helping Mama?
Yep.
He loves all the tools, which is why they're all like hidden up top. Anyways, you guys, so I'm gonna go pick that up and then we're gonna keep going on this project because I'm so excited to see one side done.
Hammer.
Yeah.
Okay, so right here I'm adding in the beadboard, and the reason for this is one, to give the wall texture, but also to give it more of a tie-in to the rest of the house because we have beadboard everywhere in this house. And then with a little help from my monkey man, aka my littlest crew member, I am applying supports to the wall. I put a brad nail in place just to keep the board level, and then I'm screwing into the studs on all three sides, except for the left. That one I just had to use brad nails, obviously, because it is just going straight into the 12-inch board that I used as my left support. After applying my header, I then went in with 1x3 trim pieces. This is just to make everything look a lot bulkier. And then this is what we ended up with so far. And then I just repeated this on the opposite side of the wall, but I only filmed one side because obviously it's the exact same thing. And then on both of the bookshelves, I went in with wood filler for all of the places where the brad nail holes went in. I want everything to look as flush as possible, and so that way you can't really see where any of the nail holes were. And then everywhere else where anything meets, I did caulking. And then underneath the shelves, I just got this plywood. I think it's called Loon. I don't know. It's a very, very, very thin plywood, relatively inexpensive. I think it was $12 a sheet, and I was able to use one sheet for 2 shelves, and it just makes this look more custom. It makes it look like the shelves are super thick, which I loved.
Okay, you guys, I think we're gonna end it here. We made great progress this week, honestly. I didn't know what to expect. I thought there'd be a lot more hiccups, and I'm just very thankful that we have 2 standing bookshelves. There are some things we still need to do, like adding the crumb molding, which is, honestly, I'd almost like rather build a 3rd bookshelf than have to attempt that, because the last time I tried that, it did not go very well and I basically gave up. So we're gonna try it out. I have a new saw this time that like bevels, so hopefully that'll help me, but we're gonna trim out the top. I have an idea for like how I wanna make the headers even more interesting. And then I need to make some doors still, obviously. I gotta figure out what I wanna do there. I have some ideas. And then we are going to be painting. So make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already, because we have to choose the color, you guys. Blue or green, I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited though. And I'm just excited to test out some colors with you, even just to see what shade we end up doing, what we're gonna do with the fireplace, as well as the rest of the room. There is still so much to do in here, you guys, but I feel like this is a great starting point. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a like if you liked it. Leave me a comment down below what you think of the space so far. And I will see you guys, I can't speak today. And I will see you guys next Sunday at 2 p.m. Bye guys.